Hi everyone. Okay, so you have probably thought about waxing before. Maybe you have unsightly hairs on your face, or maybe on your brows, or whatever. Maybe you're starting to become a little bit older and you've got all these funny hairs growing on places in your face that you didn't usually have. So I wanted to just chat to you about the pros and cons of actually waxing the face, because I know it's something that a lot of people ask me about. Should I wax, hello Arika, should I wax my face area or should I just pluck it with a tweezer? So obviously the face is the highest priority in a person's skin care routine, and we all want to look beautiful, and we all want to make sure that our skin is looked after, and that we find that we actually illustrate all remember that the skin on your face illustrates all the changes affecting your body and is often the first to come in contact with outer elements. So it deserves all the love you can give it. Many of the known hair removal methods are applicable to facial hairs, but only some of them actually provide the desired results without making the hair grow faster and coarser. Hard waxes and soft body waxes are a great way to achieve long-lasting results and to make sure that you don't actually disrupt your skincare routine, but you have longer lasting results than if you were just using a tweezer. So removing all those unwanted hairs from the eyebrows, for instance, and the upper lip, as well as the fuzzy areas sometimes on the cheeks, the chin and the sides. I apologize for the bird screaming in the background, but yeah, she's got a bit of a separation anxiety at the moment. So facial waxing is a great alternative to have that velvety texture to the face. So after we prep the skin as a beauty therapist, we spread the wax on the area. Obviously, it's a little bit hot. Some people use strip wax, so you apply wax and then you actually remove it with a strip. You place a piece of cloth on it. Alternatively, you can use a hot wax, which is a bit warmer, but you don't use a strip. It's just pulled off as it is. So facial waxing involves many advantages. So I'm going to go through the 6 pros and the 6 cons. So firstly, the pros are long-lasting results. A facial wax treatment keeps the skin smooth for up to 6 weeks. So a lot longer than if you just removed it with a tweezer. There's more precision, because remember, on the brows, for instance, is a very small area to work with, which entails a lot of attention to detail. And there's no second chances, because remember, if I put the wax on top of the brow, you're not going to have a brow left at all. So we need to make sure that we use that precision as well. When we do shaving, I've had clients that have actually shaved their brows. It doesn't look nice because the hair that comes out is hard and dark and it looks awful. So it can be very unflattering and uneven. Because of facial waxing, we obviously, it actually turns into a treat. You can have it as part of a treatment in the salon. It doesn't necessarily only have to be for waxing. You can come for a nice pedicure at the same time, or even have a facial. Just remember that we cannot do a chemical peeling on the area that we are waxing as well. After a wax treatment, there my goodies go. After a waxing treatment, we are going to, I've got all my notes written on my computer and it's just disappeared. Okay, so after a waxing treatment, the hair grows finer and less dense. So you've got finer hair growth, and this comes very handy when we consider how hard it is to take people, to actually take people's attention away from those hair. I don't know if you've ever stood in the shopping mall and maybe you've seen a woman with a nice dark black hair coming out of the chin. It's not a pleasant thing to watch. So yeah, so that is one of the reasons why we do it. The third reason that we do facial waxing, it's relatively inexpensive. It demands little time, there's minimal preparation and limited use of materials on the area. It also wastes very small amounts of wax compared to other waxing treatments, so it's usually a very affordable treatment as well. Then nourishment and protection of the skin. A wax treatment involves many additional benefits. The formulas used during the session serve as a powerful antioxidant and a moisturizer, because these days this consistency or the product that we're using contains a lot of extra ingredients and not necessarily only wax. Sometimes it also contains antioxidants and moisturizing ingredients that also help the skin. So you've also got a gentle exfoliation in that area as well. it is a specialized service. So much of the precision that makes waxing such a reliable method comes from the beauty therapist's expertise. Have you ever been for a brow wax or a lip wax where you have lost more hair than you wanted to on the brow? Okay, so usually it is performed by a professional therapist who has training in waxing as well. It will guarantee quickness and comfort while saving you a lot of stress. When booking your session, just make sure that it is with a certified or a qualified professional, and that it's not just somebody that has done some training, or maybe she learned herself. Okay, the 6 cons of facial waxing treatment. Irritation. Usually the skin is quite red afterwards because it is a very vulnerable and sensitive area. Again, the quality of the wax that we're using in the salon will obviously reduce a negative reaction, but we usually do find that the client has irritation and rashes and redness, and sometimes if they touch the area quite a lot, they might have little bumps as well. A potential painful process. It can sometimes be a bit uncomfortable, and remember that it is a delicate area, especially the eye area. So there are a few seconds of pain, especially, I don't know about you, on the lip. I wax my own lip, obviously, because I don't always get time to go to another therapist to do that. It's not a very nice thing to do, to actually pull the wax off your own face if you feel it. So it can be a bit painful, but just remember that it is a very short period of time for all the cons that we have. And then if you have any contraindications, people with skin conditions must tread carefully. People that are on Roaccutane, really, this is a very important thing that you make sure that your therapist knows that you have been on Roaccutane or Oratane or any of those specifically for acne, or if you've been off Roaccutane for about 4 months. They actually need to know that, because it does have a limitation to the waxing that we can do. The other thing that we always look at is things like antibiotics. If a client is on antibiotics, the skin can be overly sensitive. If they've just had a peeling treatment, we would obviously not look at that. If they are taking specific medication for like cortisone for inflammation, if it's a topical cortisone in the facial area, obviously we're not going to wax on that area, because you will lose skin and you will have hyperpigmentation in the area. If it is a cortisone that you are taking internally, it will still have, or may still trigger a reaction in the skin, depending on the amount that you're using and the time that you have been using it. So it's really, really important that the therapist checks which medication you're on before she actually does the waxing on you. And then if you're on hormonal or blood thinning treatments, then also be careful of that. Then after you've had a wax, obviously there are limited activities. You can't go in the sun afterwards because your skin is now red and more sensitive. Remember that there is a form of exfoliation in the waxing treatment as well. So we always advise the clients, and if your therapist doesn't tell you that, please remember, do not go in the sun for at least 24 hours. That means walking around with your friends in the bush, or going camping, or whatever it might be. Be careful, because facial waxing makes the skin much more sensitive. Also, touching the skin constantly, as I said to you just now, the hands are not clean, although we are all over cleansing our skins at the moment, or our hands at the moment. There are still bacteria on the skin, which could also lead to a little bit of infection on the face. Then ingrown hairs is another problem. I haven't had clients who've had ingrown hairs on the facial area. I've had it on the bikini area, but not necessarily on the face. But yes, it can be a problem. Especially if the wax doesn't, or the hair doesn't come out quickly or nicely. If the hair lining gets disrupted, there will be a little bump, and there might even be a bit of infection in that area. And then again, temporary bumps and mild bleeding. You must remember that if the hair is very strong and very dark, you sometimes see a little bit of bleeding. But the therapist, if she's worth her while, or worth her profession, then she will definitely make sure that you don't walk out with bleeding eyebrows and a bleeding lip or whatever it might be. They should apply an aftercare treatment to the area. And then if you are going to go outside, say you went for your wax this morning, it's in the middle of summer, it's hot outside, please make sure that about an hour after that you do apply a sunscreen, especially on the areas that you had the waxing as well. So that is me and facial waxing. I thought I'd just tell you a little bit more about what the pros and the cons of facial waxing is. So again, make sure that you go to a professional, make sure that you stay out of the sun, no sunbedding, no gymming after you've done facial waxing, especially because the sweat also can cause a bit of a problem. And then also remember that you, as I said, go to a professional. So I hope you have a lovely Thursday, and I'll chat to you guys soon.